Welcome, everyone. I have a very special guest today. This is, I would say, kind of the backbone of my estate planning operation. So this is what enables me to do the high volume that I do with just one attorney and have things run smoothly. So today I have Cindy, who is the Maat Legal Virtual Paralegal. So she is the first certified paralegal in the Maat Legal System. And I think she's got an announcement today that she's actually offering her services to other attorneys. Welcome, Cindy. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, I guess some of your background, and you can kind of share how we got connected.
Thanks, Rilus. Well, my name is Cindy Ames, and I was originally from California. I lived there and practiced paralegal services for attorneys for about 30 years. My husband retired, and I thought, well, you know what? I can work anywhere. So we moved to Idaho, which is where I reside at this point. And I am a virtual paralegal that works throughout the nation. I worked in the beginning mostly in family law, didn't really like that. I did some criminal, but estate planning and probate is really my favorite. So for the past about 20 years, I have been specializing in probate and estate planning.
You were working in an Idaho law firm as well, correct?
I was.
So doing their estate planning and drafting.
Exactly.
And then how long have we been working together now? Has it been like a couple years over?
It's been about a year and a half.
So
it's been almost 2 years.
So time flies.
It does when you're having fun.
Yeah, for better or for worse, we've only talked on the phone or Zoom probably less than 5 times.
Yep. The way that the business has been working has been really, truly working well to where there hasn't been really much glitches at all.
Let's talk volume. So you've been in the business for a while, worked for other estate planning law firms. What type of volume do you typically see from a single attorney or single estate planning law firm?
Single estate planning law firm, what I have seen is 2 to 3 trusts a week.
Yeah,
I'm doing 7 or 8. Sometimes even 10.
And again, it's possible because of the systems, where I leverage your services and we use some technology. So today we're going to show our processes. We're going to show the Maat Legal processes and the systems that we use in order to handle this business. So my goal has been, it took me a while to get there, but the goal was 12 initial clients a week. And in order to do that, I need about 20 leads a week. And so 20 leads ends up around 12 new clients a week. And then the 12 new clients a week is usually about 8 engagements, 8 to 10. So, and this is just estate planning. I also do probate and trust administration. So my business is kind of like 2 businesses almost. So Cindy runs the estate planning portion. And then I have another paralegal that does the probate and trust administration. Cindy, the way I refer to you sometimes is my California paralegal who's in Idaho. So I'm licensed in California, but I'm hesitant in what I get into over there because everything's such a pain. But you've helped me handle quite a few things in California now.
You just got done with the trust administration.
Yeah, we did trust administration. We did that crazy Hegstead petition.
We did. We did, and that's done. And
true California
waiting for
fashion.
the order.
It was a pain.
But everything in California is.
Yeah, so it's nice that you have the experience for California, and then as well as estate planning as well. So what's nice about the Maat Legal System is I'm not trying to be super detailed. I'm not trying to have check boxes for anything, but I can just give you a note like, hey, life estate to this person. Or whatever it is, and you're able to draft it in a way.
Exactly. The other nice thing about the Maat is if I'm directly talking to the client and they say, no, I want this change or that change, and they just don't know how to do it, because a lot of people are not tech savvy, I can make those changes for them and save it.
Yeah, so let me share my screen here. We'll show what it looks like. So this is, attorneys can model, they can have all this exact same stuff. This is the welcome packet that we send to clients. It's the attorney login. So this is how we log into the software. I'm already logged in here. So I have a test client pulled up here. So test estate. So when you get set up for this, if you hit all clients, you'll be able to see all of your clients. And then I have estate planning clients and then also estate administration. So when someone's died, we take in the info a little bit differently. This is relatively new, right? Cindy just kind of saw this appear. It doesn't affect her world, but you're like, what's this button, huh?
I did look.
All right. So with estate planning, where it all starts, they're going to call your law firm. They're going to schedule somehow. And before you meet with the client, ideally, you know something about them. So this is the personal inventory that we ask people to complete. Now, my experience, I've been doing this for over 10 years now. And the goal was always to improve the process, how to make it easy. I see some attorneys that they send a paper personal inventory and it's like 15 pages. Have you seen those, Cindy?
I have. They're they're handwritten and even the attorney's 15 pages. It's hard to distinguish what is necessary information and what is not, just at a glance.
Yeah. So the Maat Legal System, it starts off, they get an email before their first meeting where they can go in and fill this out. So it's really easy, add their children in here, tell us whose kid they are. And it's really basic, but I feel like it's the attorney job to fill in the details later. We just want to get a general idea. And the easier you make it, the more likely they'll do it. When the attorney is meeting with the client, this is usually where my meeting starts. So, hi, Mrs. Client, how did you hear about us? Even if I know, that's kind of like my icebreaker question. See where they came from. See who their family member is. Let's put in some more information. Let's go wife, estate. Let's add some children. Let's go son, estate. I'm not very creative in my names, just Mr. Estate for estate
Well,
planning.
there's no John Doe's, so.
Daughter, estate, maybe son is client one's and wife had daughter. They can enter their information, and sometimes I'm doing this with them, right? The people that aren't comfortable with technology or for whatever reason, maybe they didn't fill it out, but we can get that basic information. And
But
then
you notice it's easy to do it. It's very streamlined.
the next thing where my meeting usually goes is my PowerPoint presentation. So I like to see what's on their mind. How did you hear about us? What are you looking for? See if I can figure out what their motivators are. Attorneys, a lot of times we know what people need, but they don't, right? So I usually start with probate and I go over that quickly, what it is. And I usually get down to, here's what I recommend for you. I recommend, this type of trust. And then people usually start asking, what is the fee, right? So after you figure out what they need, you go, what is the fee? And again, all Maat Legal attorneys should model this, especially this timeline. This page 1 is just a general introduction letter. So this can be specific to you and your law firm. And then use the same timeline. As lawyers, I feel like a lot of our job is tell people where we're going and just remind them, how we're going to get through the process. And here I say, before I show you the fee agreement, I want you to understand what the process is. So today's meeting is what we call the personal family legal session. Once I show you the fee agreement, if you're ready to get started, I'm going to collect a deposit of half, and then we can start designing your plan. And then after this meeting, if it's a virtual meeting, they do the signing the fee agreement after through Adobe Sign. Even if I'm meeting them in person, they sign my fee agreement, they're still going to have a chance to review the drafting instructions after, and then approve the drafting instructions. And then after they approve them, they have the attorney review meeting. And I explained to the clients, they're going to get an email from Cindy. This is Cindy here, but this is, I tell people, Cindy's going to email you. And then once you approve, or if you have any questions or any changes, you can coordinate with her and you'll get them as close as possible so that we can have our attorney review meeting. This is kind of the handoff back and forth, right? Cindy, in our world, this is where it starts. So once they hire us, I'll task you to send the drafting instructions, and then it stays in your world until it comes back to review the documents.
Once you meet with the client, then I send the drafting instructions to the client. And if they have questions about the actual information, like how they should fill it out, then they can talk to me. If they have legal questions, like what does it mean to have a dynasty trust, or then those questions are referred back to the attorney, because of course those are legal questions. Now, a lot of times those are answered at the initial meeting or at the review meeting.
That's where your experience is so important. Because I've worked with other virtual assistants. Like I have some in the Philippines that answer our phones, and they're great at doing very specific things, right? So they don't understand this enough to know the difference of what changes they can make.
Not saying that you should never have a paralegal on staff. I am saying there are other ways. I think this is the one thing that COVID taught us all, is that you don't have to have somebody sitting in your absolute office. It can be virtual.
And I feel like by scaling out, you can get someone more talented and more with more specific knowledge.
Even some of these rural attorneys, they do have limited access to these kinds of paralegals with the experience that they need. They're constantly looking for somebody that is real specified in their experience and knowledge. And they don't have access to somebody that has that kind of knowledge that they need. But if you go out into the virtual world, you are limitless on what you can obtain.
Yes. So after they've hired us and I've collected the fee, I'll go in and start the drafting instructions right here. So we're all set up right now for Arizona and California. If you're watching, if you're an attorney in another jurisdiction, we can work with you with whatever software you're using, or it is possible to program your own documents into this. So the way it starts, we figure out what state we're in, what county we're in, and then we go through and decide what we want to name the trust. What type of trust it is, single trust with a dynasty trust, continuation with dynasty. Or if it's a restatement, we can do that. So if they already have an existing trust that they want to restate, we'll hit this button and get the date of their original trust. We'll ask them who the trustees are going to be. They can copy it straight from the children, which it ends up being a lot of times. Or what they can do, there's a drop down as well. This is really nice as an attorney, collecting the information from people. It makes it so much easier. If we're zooming, I'm just like this. Or when I meet in real life back here, I use my laptop. And I just, we go through this screen together and start designing their plan, get all the stuff. And then at the end, I always go back to the timeline at the end, tell them how it's going to work. And, you just got to review and approve the drafting to get to our next step, the review meeting. And then I task Cindy, to send the drafting instructions. And then you click this link, right? So you've saved an email template, right? So this is what they receive. Please review the drafting instructions, be prompted to approve them. Oh, some other things that we do. This has helped us on our rescheduling and people not reviewing drafting instructions. I don't know if attorneys struggle with this, that people say, oh yeah, I reviewed everything. And then after they sign, they go, oh, I have another kid, or, oh, that name's actually spelled wrong. So these warnings are really just to help them. We just want them to actually look at it, right? And also I found by having them review just drafting instructions where they don't have the whole documents, it's just the basic information. It's easier for people, and we get more people actually catching mistakes or catching changes before the documents are actually created. So here's our little disclosures. If they cancel the meeting, or if they want to make changes at signing meetings, $50. It's enough though. It feels like it works. I don't know if I've ever actually charged that fee, but really what I'm after is just getting people to actually look at it. Depending on their tech level, right, Cindy? Some people actually go through and make the changes. Is that how it works on your end?
Some people do. I've kind of found it depends on age. The younger people are more tech savvy than the older people. The older people will tend to call me and go, hey, it won't do this, or it's not letting me do that. So I'll just do it for them and make it easy. And then I have them reopen it, because the minute that you save that when you were going through it and you made some changes and you push that save, then I don't need to send it to them again, because it's the same link.
So if they
already
change
in there.
their
All they
kid's
have to do is
name
just refresh.
So far, the Maat Legal System, I can say it's improved people filling out the personal inventory before the meetings. The amount of people that do that has gone up. Also, I remind people often, right? When we schedule the meeting, I tell my team I want them to mention it twice during that first time, that they're going to send them the personal inventory to fill out. And then also when we call to remind of the appointment, they also remind them again. Another neat feature is we can tell once they do it. So when we when they call to review or call to remind about the meeting, The process is they first look to see if they've actually completed the inventory, or if it's not done, we'll give them another reminder like, hey, we're still need to do the personal inventory. And depending on the situations, some people, I won't even meet with them if they don't do it. Sometimes they're kind of like frequent flyers, or, if they don't want to spend the time to give some basic information so we can have a productive meeting, then it may not be worth my time to go over all their what if questions or how does this work. I want to talk just specifics for them.
Just to bring up that point, for those attorneys out there that are just taking calls and making appointments, this is valuable because you are taking less time with your initial appointment, a significant amount of less time, because you already have the information in front of you.
My meetings are only an hour. So one is so I can stack them and have, between 6 and 8 a day. And also because I'm ADD. I don't like long meetings, and I feel like people don't do well in them either, right? Like after an hour or even then, what people can retain, it kind of falls off.
Gives them more time to say, yeah, no, I want to think about it. But if everything's set and if your ducks are completely in a row, first of all, it makes the attorney look very organized, and they don't have to go over things time and time and time again. It's all there.
So Maat Legal gives you all these systems. One other thing you should have, attorneys should have, I feel like a big part of this, is a way to get paid on their website, especially this is more important for Zoom meetings when you're meeting clients online virtually. You want to have a nice way where they can pay you to get started. I think it helps the credibility, when you're collecting their payment info, they can see exactly how you're doing it. That's how it starts for the attorney. And then you first approve the drafting. So we're getting a lot more people to actually look at the basic information before. And then what is your experience in the actual drafting using the Maat Legal software?
It's really concise and easy. So because all of that information is already in Maat Legal, I don't have to retype names, which makes the mistakes really low because that's already in the system. Now there's other programs that do that. The one great thing that I love about Maat Legal is I'm not having the attorney meet with a client and write down the information and then me go in and enter the information into a program. The client did that. They're taking some responsibility. They've got some skin in the game. They're taking responsibility for their input into this process because this is for their benefit. We do this to help people, but at the end of the day, this is helping people get their ducks in a row during their lifetime so that their family does not have to go through any kind of nightmares or long processes, that it makes things very simple.
From the attorney perspective, all of my time is together with the client. So when I'm done meeting the client, it takes me less than 5 minutes to get it to the next step, which is just I email Cindy and I say, send drafting instructions. And then I also email so we use Clio. So I send an email to all of our team. And then I use Clio to set tasks. I task Cindy to send the drafting instructions. I task my bookkeeper what we collected. And if there's any other tasks needed, I do it right then. And I don't see it, hear about it or anything until I'm meeting with the clients again. So Cindy does all the review. And then what happens after they finalize, Cindy?
When they approve the drafting instructions, I draft the documents and then I put it into a PDF format that says draft on it, and one of your staff members sends it to the client and asks them to review it, and then they schedule the review hearing or review meeting.
Yeah, the attorney review meeting.
You go to the review meeting either virtually or at your office, and again, everything's already done. They have a lot of times the clients will call me back and say, hey, you know what, I did misspell, or there is a little mistake here. Or you know what, I've changed my mind about the trustees. I can make those changes before the meeting. So once again, the attorney, it's all set, already set for the attorney to do what the attorney is good at, which is handing out legal advice, giving the client the best avenue for that particular client's needs.
When I'm reviewing the documents, I'm doing it with the clients.
Yep. At the same time.
So right at the same time, which is perfect, right? If it's more advanced trust, I may look at it a little bit. That's really rare. So usually I go, all right, like let's see what this is doing. I'm kind of just as curious as him sometimes. And if I need to make any changes, I can do it right then.
Do it right then.
So
you put them in final format, and then it's time for their signing meeting.
yeah.
And I've noticed that a lot of times this process has worked so well that your signing meetings are at the same time as your review meeting.
So some people like to come in and do the review in person. We have some people that are all, analog. They don't like to Zoom. When we review in person, I build the expectation that we may not sign. I'm like, no matter what, we're going to have one more meeting. Even if we do sign today, there's one more meeting, because I like to take the pressure off of, trying to sign right then. And sometimes, like back in the day when I first started, they would print everything and I would review them together with the client, and then we would sign right then too. And then we would also talk about funding all in that same meeting. And what I found, it was too much for people. They would ask questions. They didn't know, how to get their bank accounts in their trust later. So we separate those things. So second meeting is review. Maybe we sign, but there's always a third meeting, which is the funding. So if they don't sign in the review meeting, they're definitely going to sign here. And then after they sign, then we can focus on talking about how they update their beneficiary designations and put their bank accounts in the trust. Because I feel like a lot of people miss that step.
Absolutely. That a lot of attorneys miss that step. And then you've got clients that die, and a significant portion of their estate is not either in the trust or have no beneficiary designations, including houses.
So I had someone thanking me the other day. They're telling me how much they like our processes. They said I kind of pushed them to get going, but they had enough time to review it. So again, it's all by design. It's not that I push people, but that first meeting, I quote the fee pretty quick. And if they're ready to get going, let's go, right? Well, it doesn't get easier to figure out who the guardian of the kid is later. Kind of pushing for something and getting plenty of time to review, it helps people start the process, which they thank you for later, right? Because they came to see us.
Because they appreciate it.
Yeah, they want to get their estate plan done, which is why they're meeting with us. So if we can help them accomplish that, they appreciate it.
Conversations that people like to have, and they want to get it over with. And the process seems to make it so much easier for each client. They're going, this was easy. This was not tough. And now I don't have to think about this unless there's a change of circumstance in my life.
So the clients, they get their documents in two ways. So we give them all the originals in a binder, which you can purchase these from us as well, the Maat Legal binder. And then as part of our service, we're going to tell you the low fee and actually have a discount code for the first 2 attorneys that want to sign up. But the fee for every package, it does include this digital vault. So after they sign everything, we scan it and upload it. We have a link here through Maat Legal, this digital vault. It's Everplans is the software company where I pay for the license for this, but the client receives an email prompting them to create their account. So that makes our packages nice and digital and updated. Our digital asset planning. So we include a digital asset trust as part of our plan, which is a way to give more specific instructions, especially like photos and videos, things like that you're storing online is my main concern. So if you have pictures backing up on your phone and they're on the iCloud or Google Drive, by default, those things will die with you. So this is a way to plan for those things as well. Anything else you want to say about the process, Cindy? And then we can start getting into the fees.
Well, I was impressed with the process, and I think it works well. I've worked with a lot of smaller attorneys, one guy like yourself or gal, and they were not able to do the amount. And I think I've come to the conclusion, it is the process. It flows really well.
We look at this roadmap all the time, with the clients, and then also my team, the people that answers the phone, they're familiar with this process because I want to know what stage the person is in, right? If someone calls our office, I want to know where they're at. Have they hired us? Have they reviewed their documents yet? Or have they approved them? Where are they at in the process? And by having this nice and uniform, of course, there's people that break all the rules, right? That's kind of like, this works for like, 80, 90%. The nice thing with working with humans is we have the flexibility, right? For things that need different, the drafting instructions looks like, I leave some extra notes here.
And
Life
I can
estate
also put
or
notes there if they talk to me. I can add notes into there for myself, or your staff can add notes in there. Say, spoke with the client on this day, wants to change that. And I'll
Yeah,
see that when I go to draft the documents.
yeah, I'll see those too. So sometimes when
Yeah.
I go to that review meeting, I go, oh, what's going on? Okay, like I see it. Well, because maybe they added something new, or they're trying to change something, or
Or if I do it, I'll put a date. I'll say on 8/1, talk to the client, changed distribution to. And that way you know what it was and what it is.
all right. So to get started, we're ready for 2 attorneys, preferably Arizona or California attorneys, or Cindy is ready in Idaho, right? Or if you have documents, if you're in another state, you're gonna have to bring your own documents into the system. So if you go to maatlegal.com, you can find the link here to the Maat Legal Academy. And this attorney membership, so this is the way to get started to get set up in the Maat Legal software using all of our process. So this I give you everything. It's normally $1,500. We do have $1,000 off coupon code, which is Elevate. I'll have to put it on the screen somewhere. Elevate. Use the code Elevate to save $1,000. So that means you can start for $500 startup fee. And then what is the price per transaction, Cindy?
So I charge $75 an hour, and it really just depends on how long the process is. Usually these trusts take less than 2 hours. So
Yeah.
if
And then we have a minimum fee, right? Of even if you do it for less than 1 hour, I always pay you
the
1 hour
minimum
minimum.
is 75, yes. From what I see, my process usually takes less than 2 hours, because you as the attorney are also seeing the client. Your staff is communicating with the client. If I have to communicate with the client, and if I have to exchange emails with the client, then it might be a little longer than 2 hours. But at the very minimum, you're looking at about 2 hours for a complete trust. And if you are charging, I know here in Idaho, our trusts here are around $3,000. I know in California, they're around 25 to 35. That is leaving you as an attorney open to do your job and letting others do their job. And that's how come the flow works so well, because you've got it in increments.
For Maat Legal attorneys, I like them to have minimum fees, where they won't go below a certain level. And the minimum is $1,500. But the retail should be, around $3,000 or more. So the nice thing is, even at that minimum fee in 2 hours, you're talking, 10% or less to have an experienced paralegal and all the systems that are going to impress your clients. So only 2 codes for this deal. Price will go, back to the regular price, $1,500, which even at that is still, I've invested, thousands and thousands of dollars into these systems and developing the processes as well. So these processes came from law firms that I purchased, is where I got some of them, and then just years of trial and error and seeing how to make things better. Well, thanks, Cindy. Thanks so much. If you're ready to get started, add a paralegal to your business, reach out to us at maatlegal.com. And or buy the course is how you get started. Buy that attorney membership course. There's only 2 of those for the $1,000 off. So once those are gone, they're gone. And then once you purchase the course, in addition to all the materials, that includes some of my time to help get you set up, because I want to make sure you're successful. I want to work with attorneys that are eager to help people and to grow their practice. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. Have a great day.